Let's get right into it. Game of Thrones Season 3. Let's talk. Now, Sansa Stark, she's an interesting character. I completely skipped over her in the Season 2 review, and that's because she's more like the victim who didn't do anything. She survived. She more like existed. She existed while surviving what she was going through. I write my notes down when I'm watching this in little codes, and one of my only notes for her, I only wrote 3 things down, was she is a character who confuses my feelings. And honestly, that's how I feel. Because in Season 1, I hated the bitch. She sided with the prince, who was a little piece of shit, and you saw it the moment you seen him. And she basically did not back up her sister. And in the end, ironically, her own direwolf, if I remember correctly, got killed for that. You know? So it didn't even work out for her. And then right from the end of Season 1 to Season 2, the tide started turning, and I went right from brushing this character off as being like, you know what, you went against your family? Fuck you. You ain't shit. And I went from that to having a lot of pity for this character. And in Season 2, to be honest, I'm dumbfounded why she didn't leave when she could have, when the Hound was leaving. I mean, I went right back to being like, oh, she's an idiot. She's a fucking idiot. Because I don't care. Well, all that crazy shit's going on. You're going to be tortured. You could be killed at the drop of a hat. I would rather take my chances out there in the world. I mean, shit, you know? Shit. And she doesn't. She stays there. And then Season 3 comes, and it's back to pity. And she still isn't really interesting. She's just surviving. To be honest with you, the most interesting thing is kind of waiting to see what kind of torment is around the corner for her. And I'm not trying to be sick. I'm not like I was rooting for it. But I was kind of waiting for it. Every time she was on the screen or a scene of hers was coming up, I was kind of expecting her to just be tortured in some way, you know, emotionally, psychologically, physically. That just seemed like the only thing she was getting out of life. And in Season 3, she did do a few things that was pretty stupid, and immediately I went back to hating her, but then it was kind of pity. I mean, in the end, I enjoyed her story. You know, it's something that had interesting elements. It really did, even though she wasn't doing a lot. You know, she was kind of suffering more so than she was being proactive. Some parts that annoyed me, I think it was more of the writer or director's fear that the audience wouldn't understand what's going on, especially when she faced something real shitty and she just immediately went to, Joffrey's my king, I love my king, I will stay here forever, you know, and worship my king. Fuck. I love my life. It's like they tried too hard to hint at the audience that she does not mean this. I mean, she seriously could have been like, hey, yeah, fuck yeah, I love Joffrey, he's the man, you know, he came in my room last night and he shot me in the leg with an arrow and I fucking love it. I can't wait for him to come in my room tonight and whip me with a whip dipped in oil and broken glass. I mean, yes. You know, if she said it with that much enthusiasm and joy, I still would have known she was bullshitting. She could have turned around and just looked down like, fuck, and walked away and we would have known. It was just a little too obvious. And I think that was just the creator's fears. You know, whoever is making that episode or whatever, the fears or the worry that the audience won't get it. Because although some things in TV and movies, it's a little bit too obvious, there's a lot of parts that go right over most people's heads, and it's like, holy shit. So I don't blame them for that so much, but I really like the spin they put on it with Tyrion's girlfriend. Did I say that right? Yeah. Tyrion's girlfriend becoming Sansa's helper, and then having Sansa and Tyrion get married. Tyrion's attitude to Joffrey. I mean, all of that is gold. Tywin handling Joffrey, Tywin handling the small cabinet meetings, and then you have the shit going on between Cersei, Tywin, Joffrey, Tyrion, back and forth and all around. It was great. I loved it all, especially when it affected the Sansa aspect of it. It was really good. It was great. And the Sansa story connected more with the House of Tyrell this season, and I'm actually looking forward to that family. That family feels like a family where